So Eroll, the true Spence, says that Terence Bud Crawford will just be fighting a shell of Kell Brook. He's no longer the fighter that he used to be. So basically, for a nutshell, the way Errol Spence worded, you shouldn't give Terence Crawford any credit because he's only fighting a shell. A lot of people shot this to me. They're like, you know what? I'm disappointed in Errol Spence. You know, I just started vibing with him and liking him again because of this Garcia fight. And I'm the same way. I didn't jump back on the Spence train because I appreciate somebody that went from what he's come from and step back into the ring and fight the caliber opponent that he's fighting. It needs to be praised, and you know, you need to tip your hat to the guy. As far as what he said about Terence Crawford, it's unfortunate because it comes across real hoish. You know, I'm not gonna hold my tongue. It comes across real hoish, and you know, I can't say I'm disappointed in what Errol Spence said, but you know, it's boxing. You know, people can say what the fuck they want, but like I said, to me, it's just not that it's a good look. It just makes me look at him like, God damn, Eroll, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not fucking with you no more. I'm on your team. You're moving and shaking proper, but you still doing this hoe ass shit. And the thing that I want to say is this: why would you try to beat down somebody who is eventually going to be your biggest payday? Errol Spence's biggest gripe with Terence Crawford is not having the names. I don't think it's so much about the caliber of fighters that he's been fighting, because I know Errol Spence don't judge it off that. It's, does he have any blockbuster star-studded names so he can help make this fight with me? Because Errol Spence seemed to be enamored by, you know, this so-called fictitious superstar status that he's supposed to be at, you know? So he cares more about the name. Well, Terence Crawford is doing exactly what he said he needed to do to make a fight for him, and then he turns around and he says something like that, okay? Well, first of all, he's supposed to say something like that, and I'm going to tell you why, okay? Number one, the version of Kell Brook that Terence Crawford is fighting is a better version than the one Errol Spence fought. No, hell no, bro. Hell yes, yes. Then you'll understand, once I get done explaining this, then you're going to understand why Errol Spence just said what he said. Errol Spence fought Kell Brook coming off of a loss. If he was just a shell of himself, right now for Terence Crawford, he was definitely a shell of himself when Errol Spence fought him. When Errol Spence fought Kell Brook, people told him the same damn thing. No, Kell Brook is no longer the fighter that he used to be. But is he still a good fighter? Hell fucking yeah. But Kell Brook was a shell of himself after you fought him. And this is the thing. You fought Kell Brook coming off a loss. Now, I don't need to add that, you know, just like I tell y'all all the time, it's not a good look. Because I talk about Vasily Lomachenko getting 2 back-to-back title shots, right? Well, guess what? Kell Brook got 2 back-to-back title shots too. Triple G, which is a big-ass fucking fight. Then he turns around and land Errol Spence. Where the fuck they do that at? Where the fuck they do that at? If we talk about Lomachenko for getting 2 back-to-back title shots and being orchestrated and being a constructed champ, then you can obviously see what they tried to do with him. They wanted him off that loss because they knew he was damaged goods. They knew his orbital bones was fucked. Okay? And that's when supposedly Errol Spence hit so fucking hard but couldn't knock out Mikey Garcia coming up 2 weight classes. Okay? So if Kell Brook was shot, now that Terence Crawford fought him, he was shot when you fought him. But I will say this. He is a better version. Excuse me. Terence Crawford is fighting a better version of Kell Brook than you, because he's not fighting no Kell Brook coming off a loss. Okay? He at least fighting Kell Brook coming off a win. He's had time for his injuries and stuff like that to heal. And as you can see, he's in better shape for this fight than he was with Errol Spence. So, why did Errol Spence say something like that? Because Errol Spence is trying to take away the credit in a comparison before people get a chance to give him credit and start comparing it. What do I mean by that? Is if Terence Crawford go in there and blitz Kell Brook which I believe he will, I think Terence Crawford is going to walk straight through Kell Brook. I honestly think that. He going to walk straight through him. This is the thing. If he go in there and he walks straight through Kell Brook, they're going to be looking at Errol Spence like, well, what the fuck? You fucking struggled with his ass. So it's up to Errol Spence to let people know if Terence Crawford has a dominating stellar performance, that is a shell of what he fought. So don't compare the two. Do you see how I put it together right quick? So he can't do that. What he should have did would have been some big grown man shit, is big up him for getting these kind of fights. But he didn't want to do that because he know after what Terence Crawford put the Scrooge to Kell Brook, he know people going to be looking at his performance with Kell Brook and compare it to do. And then what's going to happen? People going to be requested for that fight again. So Errol Spence got to let you know, he just fighting a shell of Kell Brook. He ain't fighting but he ain't fighting no Kell Brook coming off no loss, Errol Spence. Okay? He done had 2 fights. You know, enough time to heal, orbital bones to heal, and all that other stuff. And like I said, Kell Brook looks great. So the Kell Brook that people see now is in better shape, and it's a more fine-tuned Kell Brook than who you fought. You wanted to catch him coming off a loss. Okay? You don't catch no fighter coming off no loss. You know why you want to catch fighters coming off loss? Because their morale is low. You know what I'm saying? It's a hell of a thing to break. You know? Injured, you know what I'm saying? Tired out from the last fight. You know how that shit goes. Why didn't you fight Kell Brook before his loss? You know? That would have been something stellar, but you fought him coming off a beating with Triple G. And everybody know he's just out here, as far as Kell Brook, everybody know he just out here collecting brownie points, meaning collecting checks. You know? He's trying to get the last little bit of finances out of his name that he can get. We all know that about Kell Brook. But Kell Brook is a great fighter. You know? So that's why Errol Spence said that. Because he can't have you comparing the two. And he can't have Terence Crawford go in there and just put on a dominating performance way better than Errol Spence. He got to let you know that he just fighting a shell. But people told Errol Spence he was just fighting a shell. He didn't care. You know, and that was them talking about his injuries. Didn't nobody ever bring up that you fighting Kell Brook coming off a loss? Nobody ever brought that up. You know, but this is why Errol Spence said what he said. And this is why, you know, you get these kind of outcomes with these guys because they gotta protect their neck. Okay? So this is why he's saying he's just a shell of himself. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing special, you know what I'm saying? To try to downgrade something that he's been asking him to do, which is supposedly the reason why these two have not fought. You said you want him to put some names on his resume? Well, he's putting some names on his resume. Now, Errol Spence is meek and quiet about everything else. He should have remained meek and quiet on this. Because when you fought that guy, he was coming off a loss. And that's just a fact. You know, and like I said, I believe Terence Crawford is going to walk straight through this dude. And that's not to take nothing away from Kell Brook. Kell Brook is a good fucking fight. He's not. You know what I'm saying? He's not a bad, you know, pick of the litter. Kell Brook is thorough. You know? But that's why the fuck he said what he said. You know, because I see y'all write me. And like I said, it's disappointing. This is exactly why Terence Crawford need to stop holding his tongue, because they don't hold their tongue with him. And if Terence Crawford would open his mouth more, he'd have been got this fight. You know, he'd have been got this fight, because you could put so much pressure on Errol Spence right now. It's ridiculous. But like he said, he don't want to fight no guy coming off no car crash, nothing like that, because he's not going to get a credit and they're going to take it away from him. Just like Errol Spence is trying to do right now while saying he's fighting Kell Brook, who's only a shell of himself. So I understand that, and I get the whole shenanigans, whatever and whatnot. But that's my thoughts on it. Bruce Vader, I'm out.